The First Amendment is not one thing. It's 100 different things united by analogy that we refer to as one thing.
My DNA not for imitation, your DNA an abomination.
At the time, I was assistant opinions editor, and we released a column titled "Your DNA is an Abomination." And what that column was, it attempted to argue that race is a construct, and that construct, as it pertains to whiteness, has been used to destroy other cultures, which once that was published, there was a lot of outrage around it.
A columnist at Texas State University has been asked to leave the paper after he wrote a column denouncing white people and their DNA as, quote, an abomination.
Texas State University newspaper piece tells white students your DNA is an abomination.
It's really nothing that's new to the Star, and it's also not even the first time that the Star's been threatened to be defunded. Student government presidents, I guess it's just a tradition to try to defund the University Star, but as they quickly find out, it's unconstitutional and that it's not that easy to take the Star down.
The newsroom was terrible. It was really, really toxic because we were pretty much just like all like internally screaming 24/7 about like the emails we were getting and like what this meant for like our future careers, like who we had upset. We didn't know if it was right anymore, and like even me who like I'm somebody who believes in what I think Rudy was trying to say, I started questioning that. It was really, really terrible because we were all just super stressed. So I think it might have been the second or third day. I left the newsroom to go into the quad, and it was like everything just brightened up. We had people coming up to us because it was me and Rudy and Tafari up there. People were coming up to us like telling us thank you because it started conversations in their classrooms, or because they felt that they have been forgotten about with the climate on campus. So really stepping out of the newsroom gave me a whole new perspective.
I learned that hate is still very much embedded into the soul of this nation, and that I don't think educational institutions such as universities are doing a very good job at eradicating hate, namely because a lot of the hate that I got was from, fellow Bobcats at the time. I also just learned that I was very headstrong about my beliefs, because after it came out, people were asking me if I regretted anything, and, the way that I answered your last question, no, I don't regret anything. So I very much learned not only that hate is very embedded into the soul of this country, but also that my beliefs aren't just something that I've played around with. I'm very much willing to die for what it is that I think. The one moment that I got to bump into Denise Trout in the fallout of the article, which I went up to her and I sort of thanked her for putting a target on my back in reference to the email that she sent, in which she called my article sort of abhorrent and racist. And she responded by saying, thanks for putting a target on Texas State's back. And I thought that was very dismissive and dehumanizing, in the sense that, you can't kill an institution, but you very much can kill a person. And I'm fairly certain that my life was at risk for the few months that I lived in Texas after the release of the article, so I don't think she took that very seriously.
The point of a university is to encounter ideas, and if we think it's a bad idea, that's what we do, is we encounter it and we argue about it and we talk about it. That's why we're here, and I would hate to think that anyone would come away from that situation thinking that the people of Texas State are afraid of bad ideas, because we're not. There's no legal definition of hate speech. The Supreme Court has categorically declared that hate speech is not an unprotected category of speech. Hate speech receives the same amount of First Amendment protection as any other speech. It's only when it rises to the level of other unprotected categories like fighting words or obscenity or incitement or threats that it loses its First Amendment protection.
I used to not be a free speech absolutist. Like, I thought that there were instances where we could take speech away, but after this, I know that free speech is something that can't be taken away for anybody.
The First Amendment is everything to me as a student journalist. I think, the First Amendment is one of the most valuable rights we have, just as citizens in this democracy. And I think the fight for the First Amendment actually begins here. I think it begins, in an academic setting with us being at a university, but the university paper, the University Star, I think that's very much the cradle for the First Amendment. And I think that all of the journalists that work at the University Star, those are the people who are going to carry on that fight into the big leagues, into our national conversation.
Hate speech is whatever you say it is, right? And that's the problem with that term, because anyone can say, I find that idea offensive and therefore it's hate speech because it makes me unhappy, it makes me uncomfortable, it makes me feel bad.